Well, good Tuesday morning to you, Chris Hare, the crypto cowboy. I am a multiple time world champion team roper, and I'm taking the strategies that I've used to be successful in the arena and bring them into crypto and teach you guys those strategies so you can become profitable traders. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about Solana today. Price action's been pretty ugly over the past several days, and I'm going to break it down. I'm going to tell you where I think we're going and what our next steps should probably be. All right, we'll start off with the crypto fear and greed index. We're at a 32. That's down from about 34 yesterday actually. And what we can tell, this measures market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared or if they're greedy. And right now we're in fear. We almost touched greed just the other day, but then a lot of people started taking profits, and we ended up pulling back. But what I can tell you is typically when we're in fear, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, guys. And when we're in fear, there's usually a pump that comes after. So the best time to buy in your spot bags is when we're in fear. And if we go to extreme fear, there's a really good opportunity to buy, you see, because that's right before we made that big launch over the past several months. But now we're in fear again. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So what happens next? We're going to cover an altcoin index because I think it's relevant since we're talking about altcoins. And we're in a Bitcoin season right now, guys. So Bitcoin's at a 29, or the alt season index is at 29. What we need to see alts run and maybe get a big run is we need to move over into these blues. You can see yesterday we were in a 30. They kind of ran up just a little, but and last week even we were at a 51. And last month we were at a 71. So they were kind of in control there. They were kind of doing their own thing and went really explosive, but now we're pulling back because Bitcoin is pulling back. But let's go to a Solana liquidation heat map. It gives you a better idea. This follows pockets of liquidity. So these are all short trades above price action, and these are all long trades below price action. And what the market makers do, they chase liquidity. They go take it. They don't care about your money, but they know where your liquidations are. So they're going to come after the biggest pockets of those. And right now it looks like we're coming down to test some around $180, $190. There is a pocket up here that was kind of suspect at $200, but maybe they don't want to get it now. Maybe they're going to come back for it later. But we've got $293 million of long liquidations all the way down to 166. And if you go to the upside, we've got about 416. So it's a pretty even balance, but there is an imbalance. So usually they want to go after the bigger imbalance. So what they may do is want more shorts to pile in, run it down here a little bit, and then they'll run after them again. But we'll go on to the charts. We'll kind of figure out exactly what's going on. I'm going to show you a Bitcoin chart real quick, just so you have an idea on the daily. And we'll understand why we're pulling back. You can see Bitcoin's been in a pullback since we hit all-time highs. And then we put in these horrible wicks. And I'll get into wicks and why they're relevant and why I'm paying attention to them right now. But that's enough on Bitcoin. We can see it's pulling back. So if you go to the Solana daily chart, you're going to see the same thing. See, we've pulled it back, and it's pulled back even harder. But there's hope, or maybe not. But what we can look for if we're hopeful is that this price action has to come back up over this red line. This is the daily 50 moving average. So this takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, and it works as a very strong support and resistance. But as you can see right now, we are below that. So this line is resistance. And what we would need to go up is somehow we'd have to come up and reclaim that, tap this line here, probably come down and retest. And then your targets of about 222,000, 239,000 are in play. I'm not confident in that move. I actually opened a short this yesterday on Solana. It's still open, but I went ahead and shorted it because we're below that. We're below the 50. We've got the 200 smooth moving average down here. That takes 200 of these candles and it puts a fluid line on the chart, and that's going to work as another strong support or resistance. And you can see we're coming down into our daily golden zones that are between 173,000 down to about 156,000. So we're going to watch this line really close. There's a good possibility it bounce. Market makers like to fill out about 70% of those wicks, and they came down and got most of it, but they didn't quite get all of it. So it begs the question. We'll see what happens when we get down to the 200. If for some reason we lose the 200, our next targets are going to be 153. The weekly golden zone is right around 142. And you can see these gray lines, top and bottom. They're kind of at an angle. I use those. They're trend lines. They're 3 touch points somewhere back in the chart that create a trend. And price action really likes to stay in between them until we've got an ugly, ugly move coming, like into the bull market. I'm not prepared to make that call yet. I think that's a conversation that we need to have further on down the line. But I can see a few weeks of down, or at least a few days of downside here. If we lose this daily golden zone, that's our next stop, is right along this bottom trend, and that's ugly, probably around $140, $150. So I don't want to get into that yet. That's worst case scenario. We're going to go to a 4-hour chart. We're going to figure out where we're going to go shortly. And like I said, we'll play this move by move and not get in a hurry. So you can see we came down into our 4-hour golden zone. This is an ascending channel, and typically they like to touch the top of these 3 or 4 times and then fall out of them. And when they fall out of them, you can measure from the top of this move to the bottom of the move. And you can see I've got a vertical trend line here. So that's what this is for. And I didn't have it quite long enough, so let's draw it. What you can do is you can drag it up, draw it from top to bottom. You take that over, you put it where you've broken out, and look at that. It puts us right in this target, right around $172, $173. That fills that wick out. So I want to see what happens there before we go any lower. You can see the daily targets down here. It lines up with our 4-hour extended target. That's around 142. But I think our eyes need to be on 172 for now before we think about a move up. It could come in here. Now, sometimes they only fill about half of these out. It could come down to about $185 and decide to go up from there, or come back and retest this daily 50. It's going to be down there about, and the 4-hour 50 will be down there as well. So it's going to work as resistance until we can get above it, retest it, and then we can consider it a solid support. And then that's where we would think about longs. What I'd do with my trade here, if I was trading this, I'd ride it down here. I would take profit along the way. And as we lose about $188 and you get below it, I would move my stop loss down. I would take profit all the way down on this trade. And as soon as you get this trade in profit, guys, put your stop loss to break even and then trail it down. I think that's the best way to handle it. But that gives you a pretty good idea on Solana. I really think that those targets are pretty accurate. And I've taken that strategy that I have as being a world champion team roper, and I've put it into these charts. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of studying. But with a lot of patience, a lot of discipline, and doing things the right way and not cutting corners, I can get you guys to the place I am now. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. You'll get updates as soon as we drop a video. But I'm going to wrap it up for now. I've said enough already. I got to get to work. My name's Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy, and we'll see you down the road.